Hey listeners, Dan Harris here, host of the 10% Happier podcast. Imagine all your audio entertainment available in just one place. That's what the Audible app is all about. With Audible, you can always find the best of what you love or discover something new. Audible has an incredible selection of wellness titles and originals like The Light Podcast by Michelle Obama, Work It Out by Mel Robbins, and Confidence Gap by Russ Harris. Membership includes access to Audible Originals, podcasts, and tons of audiobooks that you can download or stream as much as you want. And as an Audible member, you can choose one title per month from an ever-growing catalog of titles to keep. The Audible app makes it easy to listen anytime, anywhere, whether you're traveling, working out, doing chores, wherever your day takes you. New members can try Audible now free for 30 days. Visit audible.com/Harris or text Harris to 500-500.
The weather is cooling down a bit. The leaves are starting to fall. Yes, it's that time of year again, football season. And we all know the best part of any game day traditions are the ones that involve food. There's nothing like having everyone in your game day crew coming together to bring their best bites and argue over whose family makes the best chili. And while there's no need to mess with the perfection of game day classics, like a freshly grilled Oscar Mayer hot dog topped with Heinz ketchup and mustard, it's always fun to step out of your comfort zone and get creative with your recipes. Because there's nothing more fun than adding to your list of game day traditions, like making a creamy and delectable queso dip with Velveeta cheese that can be eaten with so much more than just chips. Now is the chance for people across the nation to find out whose game day eats reign supreme. It's your turn to show off your tasty game day food traditions. Go to www.gamedayfoodtraditions.com to share a photo of your game day food tradition to enter to win $10,000. Once again, that's www.gamedayfoodtraditions.com to enter to win $10,000.
This is Full Change with Tom Laidlaw.
Thomas, we are upping the cool factor on the show today.
Boy, I'm on twice?
No. We have a guy who's definitely better looking than you in your career for sure. More stylish. And we have the inventor of the cool Kelly Hrudey headband.
There you go. Look at the hair you still got in your head, too. I know people can't see that, but he's got a full head of hair. Mine's like shiny. Mine's so nothing up there. How you doing there, brother?
I'm doing great. How about you guys?
Good. So I love telling this story to everybody. At the end of my career, I can make up all excuses I want. Bottom line is I lost a step that I couldn't afford to lose. And Kelly was our goaltender. Kelly was one of the best teammates I ever had, even for a goaltender. we're playing a game in Toronto, and I'll tell you, everybody is skating by me, right? They get breakaways to skate. I'll go back to Kelly. I'm feeling this terrible, because Kelly's not mean. He's not yelling at me. He's not mad. And he just says very nicely to me, Tom, if you can't stop them, can you please just get out of the way? And I know your intention is fantastic. That was probably, and again, it wasn't because of you. That was probably one of the lowest parts of my career, because I'm thinking, here's this fantastic teammate, and he's just begging me to get out of the way.
Well, I probably felt badly for you. Was that the year you had appendicitis and you?
Oh yeah, that's right too. I forgot about all that. Yeah,
you had about appendicitis. You had the surgery and you missed. Geez, like 6 weeks or.
Yeah, that's right too. Yeah, I forgot about the back injury and all that stuff.
Totally.
It was the most frustrating thing in the world, because I felt good about my game the early part of my career, and all of a sudden now I can't stop anything. And here's this fantastic goaltender telling me, Tom, just get out of the way.
Hey, listen, bud, I went through that at the end as well. When I knew my skills were declining, we're all in the same boat.
Oh, I know. Isn't that frustrating? And when it's happening, you just don't know what to do either. You look back at it now.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Tom, but when I really noticed it, besides the games when I knew I was really struggling, but in practices when the shots were really hard in practice and I was trying to keep up with the younger guys, and I had to actually mentally prepare for a practice. And before, you didn't really have to, right? Like you knew you're good.
Yeah.
You just started practice and put in the work, but you didn't have to prepare mentally like
I know.
near the end.
Do you think you'd do anything different, like physically training or anything like that? Or do you think you would have been different?
I would definitely do something different, Tom. And I've come to this realization recently, and I would have been kinder to myself.
Yeah.
I wouldn't push myself as much where I think it got on the wrong side of beneficial. And I'll give you a story. So, and, for one thing that, being hard on yourself is a good thing, and to drive and all that. And, that's one of the reasons why you and I ended up playing and having long careers. But on the other side of it, I think there's a vehicle that I would have chosen or a way I would have approached it a little bit differently. So when I was still with the Islanders, we lost at home and we're getting on the bus because we're going after that whole game to New Jersey, I think. So we have another game the next night, and I'm furious with myself because I didn't play very well. And I get on the bus, and Steve Conroy, one of our unbelievably good defensemen, he gets on the bus a couple rows in front of me, opens his overnight bag and pulls out a book and starts reading immediately. Right. And I'm thinking to myself, Tom, I'm going, you jerk, why did you care as much as I care?
Right.
But the good side of my brain, I remember, I was like, Kelly, I wish that was you. I wish I would have been able just to open a book, start reading, forget about the game I just played, and be carefree. And Steve was right, and I was wrong. And I wish I would have been way kinder to myself about those sort of situations.
Yeah, he gave himself time to mentally decompress.
Right.
Yeah. That is true, right? You learn now when we're older how to handle those things. Like you wish you had like this guy that you are now back in your 20s and understand things better. Yeah, totally. Totally, yes. I think some of the things I'd let bother me, I remember, again, another one of these stories that Tom's going to make fun of. I was on the All-Star ballot one year. It was like 1987.
Well, there was a misprint, obviously. We spoke to the league.
So weird to say. Weird to see, because I'm thinking, I had confidence in myself as a player, but I'm thinking, I can't play in the All-Star game. I'm Tom Laidlaw, Wayne Gretzky and all these guys. What am I going to do in the All-Star game? Like, I was afraid to play well.
We all feel that way, Tom.
Yeah,
There's no
true.
question about it. What do they call it? Imposter syndrome? When, I think, especially when you're rising up and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I can't play with these guys, and you question yourself.
Yeah.
And then you make it for a while, then it returns, and you wonder, how much longer can I do this? And you're always questioning yourself, right? And it drives you crazy.
Yeah. It's funny, even like Wayne Gretzky got traded to L.A. Like, how can we play Wayne Gretzky? You know, he's a man. That's the thing, right? Look back now, like for me, a lot of the Rangers stuff, we go in the 94 team that won the Cup, when they're at some of these charity events, Mark Messier, Adam Graves, they're really revered by the fans, and they should be. They won the Cup in 94. But for years there, I was kind of like, oh, I can't stand around these guys. You know, now you realize they're human beings, just like everybody else, right? Like you love yourself, I love myself. I'm sure they love themselves, but yeah, I'm no better than them. I'm no worse than them. Yeah.
Dude.
Oh yeah. I remember the first time I met Wayne Gretzky, and I had been a player in the league for 4 or 5 years, and I had admired him from afar, right? When playing against him, or I remember the first time I played against the Oilers, and it was in warm up. And I never usually watched the other team in warm-up, but I just couldn't take my eyes off it. I was like, I can't believe I'm on the same ice as him. So anyways, it was in the summer of 87, and I had been invited to the 87 Canada Cup team. And I'm home in July visiting with my mom and dad in Edmonton. And the phone rings, and my mom says, Kelly, the phone's for you. And it's Gretzky on the other end of the line. He goes, hey, I'm in town. I'm in Edmonton. And I need somebody to go skate with. You want to? And he said, like, in a couple of days, why don't you meet me at this rink and we'll get ready for training camp? So I go there, and I'm thinking, well, there'll be a bunch of us, right? And it's just Wayne and I, and Wayne and Janet were dating at the time, so Janet came out and stayed. But the three of us on a sheet of ice in Edmonton, I'm thinking, this just doesn't happen. I know. Edmonton and Elmwood little community. You're not supposed to be on the ice just alone with Wayne Gretzky, and he's shooting on you, getting ready for the Canada Cup. It was just weird.
Isn't it weird? Yeah. And then we grow up now and think, Wayne's a great guy, but he's just a guy.
He's a dude.
Right.
You're all dudes.
Oh, I know.
Did Janet shoot on you at all during that, Kelly?
What's that?
Did Janet shoot on you?
She probably did, sure.
Scored on you?
You
let her score.
Who didn't? So, I always said I made a lot of guys rich in my
Nah, you had a fantastic career. So again, you grew up in Edmonton, right? That was your hometown?
I did. Yeah.
Good.
It was a great childhood. My mom and dad, we didn't have a lot of money. Incredible parents. So when I had a brother, my dad basically fixed pot machines for Pepsi as a living. My mom sold children's shoes at a store called Jack and Jill in Edmonton. And they gave me the greatest gift. Pat Conacher gave me this line. We're playing in L.A. After you left, Tom, and we're sharing our childhood stories. Pat grew up in Calgary, and I told him the story about we'd go to the mountains, of Rocky Mountains, like Jasper, Banff, for our summer vacations. That's all beautiful. Oh my gosh, right?
Yeah.
So we had a little camper, and that's a gift that I've now passed on to my kids, and my brother's done the same with his family. But Pat was the first one to say, "Oh, your parents gave you the greatest gift. That, you can't do it any better than that. Just a trip to the Rocky Mountain." And that will be, Tom, when my final days come around, and my final trip will be to the Rockies. I'm literally right now in Calgary, 1 hour from the time. So it's so close, and we go there often. But what a childhood is amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing you say that about the camping, right? So I got divorced when my boys were small. They were like 4 and 6 years old.
The first time?
The first time, yes. So I grew up in that farm country where nobody ever got divorced. So I'm thinking I've screwed up my kids' lives. So the good thing that came from that, though, was that I wanted to make sure I spent real quality time with them. So we bought a motorhome, and we went camping. Some of the best memories. Oh, right, fantastic. Yeah, I hate to say that divorce was good, but I may not have done that before when I was still married.
Well, and that goes to what Kelly said. You guys, they'll appreciate that as they're adults now. Totally. When you're that in it, you don't appreciate, especially being a 22-year-old hockey player, you don't appreciate what you have.
Yeah, totally.
No,
very true. So were you a goalie right away when you started?
Well, I hesitate because, yes, the answer is yes, Tom, but I didn't start playing organized hockey till I was 12 years old. Oh, yeah. So I had a really late start. I don't know, when did you start playing organized hockey?
I was about 6 years old. Couldn't stand up on skates, but I was 6 when I started.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I was 11, and I went to my mom and dad, and I said, I'd like to join organized hockey. And my mom and dad both said, no, I don't think that's a good idea. You should learn how to skate for a year. So I did. Every day after school, come home, do a little bit of homework, and go to the rink, and on an outdoor rink, and learn how to skate on my own. And then the following year, it was like a month before the start of those little training camps you had, and I was playing ball hockey in my friend's driveway, Jeff Marshall, and his dad was kind of walking by, or heard a conversation Jeff and I were having about what position I might want to play. And I had no idea, right? And Mr. Marshall said something like, "Hey, Kelly, I don't want to influence you too much, but whenever I watch you guys play ball hockey in the community, you stop the ball more than anybody else." And that was the start of it, Tom. It was as innocent as that. And then I started playing, and of course, I never made any rep teams for the longest time because I was so far behind everybody, but I didn't care. I was just playing and having fun with my friends.
Right.
That's amazing.
I'm going to give you a compliment right now. I'm listening to you speak here. Like, you're a very intelligent man. I mean, it's very seriously. I'm listening to, I know you're in the business on TV and everything. And I'm thinking, wow, like the way you speak and everything, I'm very impressed. That's a good job.
Just wait. We have 45 minutes.
That's good. That's good. All right. So then you get drafted into major junior, or was there a draft then?
There was not. They sent letters in the Western League anyways. And so the summer of 78, I really improved in that year of 77, 78. So that was the first year ever, my last year in, what do you call it now? Under 17, U17. I made a rep team for the first time ever. But I got cut in training camp, but then another rep team called me, and for some reason they only had one other goalie, so I made it. And we ended up winning the city championships, and then we won the provincial championships. We beat Mike Vernon's team in Calgary.
Oh, really? Wow.
And yeah, and that summer, I really didn't know anything about Major Junior. And so I got 2 letters, one from New Westminster, and they were a powerhouse. And then I got another letter from Medicine Hat. Now, Medicine Hat is about a 6-hour drive. New West would have been about a 20-hour drive. And not that I expected to make either of those teams, but I went to Medicine Hat's training camp. And this is exactly how I felt, you guys. So I had never made a team in training camp, right? Ever. I always got cut once, twice. I remember one year I got cut 3 times. I go to Medicine Hat, and the second day, you'll remember this name, Tom. Vic Stasiak was my coach.
Sure. Yeah.
From the legendary Duke line in the NHL from years past. And Vic calls me into the office on the second day, and I'm expecting, okay, well, Kelly, you'll go home. And he goes, "You made the Medicine Hat Tigers."
Wow.
And this was within the first 2 minutes of the conversation. I was always quiet, but I got even quieter. And then he goes, "Is something wrong?" And I go, "Yeah, I have to go home. I didn't think I was going to make it. I only bought 1 pair of jeans and T-shirts for my birthday."
That's fun.
So we had a little chuckle over that. And then Vic told me stories. He regaled me for about 2 more hours, stories of 2 goalies that he played with, Glenn Hall and Terry Sawchuk.
Wow.
So amazing. Then later that week, I went home, and then the general manager, Doug Steaton, came to Edmonton and chatted with my parents about why I should go to Medicine Hat, and it was great, but I was lonely. And I know you played junior, and then you went and played, where'd you play? Northern Michigan?
Northern Michigan, there you go, good memory, yes. Harvard of the Midwest.
Yeah, and so I'm sure, were you as homesick as I was my first year?
Well, you know what? I was lucky because our junior coach, it was the first year we had a hockey team, and he was smart. He went and brought 4 players off my junior team, plus myself, and 2 other guys. So I knew guys already. So, you know, again, I was 18 because I'd been drafted by the Peterborough Petes, went there for training camp. But I was the same way when Roger Nielsen was coaching Peterborough at that time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And when I went there, I was probably close to being good enough as a player, but socially, I just was, I hadn't been off the farm. I just did new school and all,
See, that's something a fan wouldn't think that, you know, we think you guys have this incredible life where everything is, you know, roses and rainbows. And it's like, you know, you're homesick. You miss your family.
Yeah.
You're taken out of your home. So it's got to be hard to deal with.
Oh, yeah. Well, my mom tells me this story that, or she reminded me during the pandemic, I picked her up in Edmonton. She came to visit in Calgary. She's talking about how I almost quit that first year. So I was a 17-year-old in Medicine Hat, and we had a bad team to make things even worse, where I think we only finished with 37 points. But there's a reason for that. They're building, as you know, you guys, in junior or the next year, the year after. We're a team full of 17-year-olds. And so in that league, we're getting beat up pretty badly. But so I was extremely disappointed one night after a game. I came home and called my mom and dad and said, I've had enough and I'm coming home and I miss everybody. The season's not going very well. And my mom kind of, as she's telling me the story again, she's kind of smiling. She goes, okay, Kelly, well, why don't we talk in the morning? If you still feel the same way, then we'll come get you. And I never called the next morning.
Good call, Mom.
Right? They're so wise. And so I decided to stick it out for good reason. And, you know.
Let me ask a two-part question here. So you're getting cut all the time. First of all, how'd that feel? And then when you finally made the team, how'd that feel?
Yeah, so getting cut was normal for me because it happened all the time. And you know, I knew I wasn't as good as the other guys. They had, you know, a 6-7 year head start on me, and they're just better. I just loved playing, whatever level I played at. Until I was 16, going on 17. That year when I got cut was the year when I was extremely discouraged. I came home, my brother was there, and I said, Ken, I'm going to quit hockey. And he goes, I understand. I totally get it. He goes, but just do me a favor. Another rep team just called like 10 minutes ago, and I'd like you to go to their practice tomorrow. That's when I went. They only had one other goal. And so that felt extremely gratifying to make it. But when I went to Medicine Hat and I made it, that was odd because I'd never gone somewhere and not beat that disappointment. And I don't know if I really believed it for a while.
Yeah.
I made it. That doesn't make any sense to me.
That must have been something that the coach is looking at you because he doesn't know all your background at that point, right?
Yeah,
now,
right.
Yeah.
He just knew that the year before I'd won the city championships and the provincials. So he's most likely thinking, oh, Kelly's been on this fast track. And that would have been the furthest from the truth.
Definitely.
Kelly, how'd you get so good so fast though with you know that you had such a late start?
Yeah, I don't know why that when I was 16, why I started to take off a little bit. To this day, I'm clueless about that. I know why I started to get a lot better at junior because we were a poor team, and I would honestly get 40 to 60 to 70 shots some games, and it was either I'm going to get better or I'm going to be out of this league by the end of the season. This is no exaggeration, guys. Somewhere in the record books you can find it. Well, first of all, 2 stories that really stand out. We played against the Memorial Cup champions, Brandon Wheat Kings, the first weekend. I think we played 2 or 3 games. I can't remember. Something like we lost 12-1 and 14-2 or something. And so my mom and dad are looking at the newspaper in the box store and watching this, and they're, oh my gosh, are you okay? I remember Monday morning, we're back in Medicine Hat. They called me, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, no problem. You know, I had like 60 shots each game or more. So then later in the year, we go to Portland, and they were a powerhouse. And we lost 16-2 or 3. I had 100 and some shots, and I was given a star, one of the 3.
I was just going to ask that, yeah.
And the fans, I remember, I'm thinking of, man, I just gave up 16. I didn't get pulled. And and I'm going out for a star, and the people in the audience are giving me, they're clapping. They're like, "This is amazing. This kid, he stayed in there for the full game." And
That's a classic. That's a great story. That's excellent. Yeah. Wow. Very cool. Now, your first year junior, was that your NHL draft year?
no, next year.
Excellent. Okay.
But if you look at my stats, you guys, I at our year-end awards banquet, I won MVP and Rookie of the Year, but my goals against average was 6.17. Can you imagine that?
Did you understand what was going on at that point? That like, man, I'm doing well, but I think my goals against that.
I had no idea.
Yeah, you're just playing hockey, right?
Yeah, just playing hockey at 17, turned 18, thinking this is a fun life. I like it. I'm getting to play a ton.
Sure.
Back then, I think we only played 72 games, and I played 57 of them as a 17-year-old. So that's a lot of hockey for a kid.
Now, at that point, are there any dreams or aspirations of playing in the National Hockey League?
No, I wanted to be a park warden.
Really?
Going back to my days going to Banff and Jasper, right now. That was my lifelong goal, and then the stupid game got in the way.
I still go back. You still go back to be a game warden?
I'd love to do that. They invited me, Parks Canada invited me to take a horse trip in the backcountry. Someday I got to take them up on that.
Do it.
Yeah.
Take Tom with you.
I was drafted in the second round. Tom, I think you were like fifth or sixth.
Sixth round. Very good. Good job. Sixth round, yeah.
And so that year, 1980, when I got drafted, I went to training camp, which you'll remember, guys, not all draftees went to training camp back.
Right.
They would only invite certain ones. And for some reason, they decided that I would go that year. And our first preseason game was in Chicago, in the legendary Chicago Stadium.
Sure.
I had no idea what it was going to be like. I'd heard stories. And so to play in that building, and I played the first two periods. I was losing 5-1 after two. I faced 36 shots. Tom Lysiak scored on me in the second period. I remember he ripped it low glove side. He didn't even celebrate. And I'm thinking, two things entered my mind. I'm closer than I ever thought to playing in the National Hockey League, but I'm really a long ways from making it because Tom Lysiak scored on me so easily. He wasn't even thrilled. So that was my takeaway. My last takeaway from that preseason game at the end, I remember all the guys in the veterans in the dressing room. Like, Kelly, come on, get undressed. Let's go. We're going to take you out for pizza and beer. And they did a downtown deep dish Chicago pizza joint, and they didn't let me buy a thing. And it was so cool.
And who all that? That's Trache and all those guys?
All those guys.
That's cool.
He's bossy. I remember even back then, a lot of the veterans had to play in the preseason. I think you had to have 14 veterans in the preseason game.
Yep.
It wasn't like today where I think you could, I don't know the exact number, but maybe even only as few as 8 or something. And so I'm flying to Chicago with the team, and this is obviously on purpose. I'm in the middle seat between Mike Bossy and Brian Trache.
Oh, there you go.
Wow.
And so all those guys took me out. I remember Bourne and Nystrom, and it was just so cool to be around those guys, and they're so gracious and kind to me.
That always impressed me about that team. That's the way I could just see them operate in that way, right? That you're a new player on this team, they're going to take care of you, and that's just shown to the Wolves. Yeah.
I remember many times that first year. I remember one time in Winnipeg, I was exhausted. I don't know where we were coming from, maybe Minneapolis. And we get to the hotel mid-afternoon, and I'm a rookie, so I'm waiting for all those guys to check in first, and I'm going to get my key last. And so I finally get my key, and I think it was Bob Nystrom said, "Hey, Rook, put your bags in your room and meet us down here in 5 minutes. We're going out." And so that's how they took care of me, right?
Right. That is cool. That's cool.
Kelly, when you got to that squad, you have Billy Smith and Rolly Melanson in front of you, though. Do you think I have no chance of making this team, or what's going through your mind?
Okay, Tom, I'll tell you even further to that. So that first year I went to training camp. So they had won their first Stanley Cup. That training camp, there was Billy Smith, there was Chico Resch, there was Richard Brodeur, there was Rolly Melanson, and Jim Park. Jim Park was a longtime WHA goalie. So I've got 5 guys in front of me. I'm thinking there's no chance I'm ever going to make the New York Islanders. I thought maybe I'd have to get traded or something to have a chance. But somehow, after 3 years, I ended up making the team. So there's a lesson out there for kids. Just patience and put in the work. I put in 2 full years in the minors. We won the championship both years. So that certainly helped me. But it was a long grind.
Yeah. You're being humble. You talk about your whole life story so far. You kind of overlooked the hard work part, did you? That's what I remember about you. It's like you worked hard at the game.
Oh yeah. I was very determined, like a lot of young athletes.
Definitely. Rolly Melanson, I remember he came and played with the Kings there for 1 year, I think, too. Yeah. Great game. Really, I think he's coaching now, too. Is he? He's a goalie coach?
Yeah, he has been for a long time.
Right. Great guy, great teammate. We were playing one of those games where we just were awful, right? So we're all coming in after the second period or first period, and we're all yapping at each other, And Rolly, he said something we should do. And I was mad. I should not have said it. I said, Rolly, just get in there and stop the effing puck. And Robbie Fatorik.
Leadership.
Oh, I know. I was mad. And again, Rolly was a great guy. It wasn't fair that I said that to him. And so Robbie Fatorik was coaching us, came in. He said, okay, that's enough. And I had to get one more little shot in. I just stopped the effing puck. I had to get, like a little kid, I had to get one more shot. Yeah. So
We've held at that.
No, I know.
Kelly.
Back and we think, oh my gosh, why did I say that?
Oh, I know.
Kelly, how was Billy Smith towards you as a young goalie?
Amazing. Now, the lessons he taught me were very important for my career down the road. And I did understand it at the time. So when I started to play more often than I think Billy wanted to accept, he would go charging into the coach's room, whether it was Al Arbor or when Terry Simpson replaced Al Arbor, and he would fight for his position. And at first, I let Billy go in on his own, and once I finally figured out what was happening and I had to fight for myself, I'd go charging in right behind Billy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I deserve to be playing tomorrow, and here, he'd give his little spiel, and I go, that's all right.
So you both were in the room at the same time, the coach.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
But it was we had a great relationship. We went out for dinner almost every night on the road. We'd play tennis together back home, but we were fighting for our own spots, right? And so Billy taught me that. That was one of the most valuable lessons because, especially, Tom, when I joined you guys in LA and we had a lot of goalies coming through, I had to fight for myself. And I had to make sure that the coach knew that I wanted to play.
Yeah.
I wanted the net. And that's how it is. And then that way, the other guy coming in doesn't get any free starts because I'm big on that. In the National Hockey League, whether you're a skater or a defenseman like yourself, Tom, you can't. This is not a league full of donations where you just donate ice time. You've got to earn it. Right. And so that's what Billy taught me, and I was forever indebted. And then Byron Defoe told me the same thing after he retired because we were together near the end of my time in LA. He goes, Kelly, you taught me that so much that I learned how to fight for my own ice time. And when he was in Boston in particular, he was like, these young guys would come up, I'd go in the coach's room and say, that's not right. I deserve to play, and here's the reason why.
That's pretty cool. You think if you're a coach, right? The guy's not whining and complaining in front of anybody else. He's coming in man to man in the room all alone, and he's fighting for his spot. He's not backstabbing anybody else. I think that's pretty cool that both you guys are in at the same time, really. I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, and so, again, those lessons that Billy taught me. So later on, when Barry Melrose was coaching us, it turned out in our second year that we developed this amazing bond, kind of like a friendship, but certainly he was the coach and I was the player. But once I really became comfortable with him, I knew things were going south in a particular game, right? I get you about 3, 4, and sometimes 5 in the first period, and I knew Barry wanted to pull me, so I come in after the whistle blows, charge into his office. And I go, don't you dare think of pulling me.
Oh, really? Oh.
But that puts the onus on me, right?
Yeah.
And so Barry would go, okay, well then get out there and you better play, right?
Right.
And so I remember the first time I did that and Byron Defoe was on the team. I gave up 5 to Winnipeg and I didn't give up another goal in the game. And Byron after the game said, I've never seen anything like that. Like he charged in there, you told him no chance to pull me.
Oh.
And you lived up to it. And
that's cool.
Stand up to yourself. Right?
That's very cool. So now I know you're a competitor. I'm not saying you would ever quit, but was there ever a game where you gave up 7 or 8 goals and you wanted to get pulled? It just wasn't there for you.
It was that game when you were playing with Tom when you wouldn't stop.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's true. I swear to God, I think about that sometimes. I know I'm repeating myself here, but you were so nice, and I felt so bad for you. Tom, can you please just get out of the way?
Well, like I said, I remember you had appendicitis that year. There was a reason why you in that game. I'm sure that you were lagging behind. And I find that more compelling to this day because my wife had appendicitis. We were out at a place called Predator Ridge in the summer, 2 summers ago, and she was laid up for 8 or 10 weeks, and so couldn't play golf. So now, even more so looking back, I'm amazed that you were able to come back in time because that's a serious illness to have.
Even just like at the end of your career, you mentioned it before, when you can't do all the things that you were doing before. That was so frustrating. Oh, man.
So frustrating. I remember for my first 12 years in the league, it seemed like I was rarely ever in the medical room.
Yep.
At the last 3, it's like I couldn't get.
Oh, I know. Isn't that awful? That feeling, because you become that guy on the team. You have the same way with this. The players all looked at you and that he was always going to be there. He was always going to play. He played through injuries and all that kind of stuff. And all of a sudden now you're made of glass. You can't do anything.
Right? Yeah. Everything's breaking down. For me, it was my ankles, my shoulders, my back.
Right.
Everything was I was just in pain as you were and all the guys, even to this day, ever since, I would say from November 1st, everybody's banged up.
Yeah.
Find a way to play.
And with that team, too, you had Larry Robinson and Dave Taylor and Luke Robitaille and Wayne Gretzky. That's a great guys, too. That was a great team to play on. A fun bunch of guys.
And we had some fun dinners the night before.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I love that part. I've tried to create that in my broadcasting career. So on nights where we're on the road, we like to go for dinner and have a little bit of wine and just chat and tell stories. And I just find that so
I know.
and it's so good to just share, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that is the part of the game that you miss as a player, right? And you've got the same thing going on now. Being with the guys, get that, their peers, you're fighting to win something together, and you're going out and having. And back in those days, and people, we had quite a few cocktails sometimes too. But it was like, I think could you have played better if you didn't? And I think to myself, it was so
the odd time we had to play guilty.
Yes, yep, no question. Several odd times, yes. But again, we had like Larry Robinson. I tell the story all the time. He was like a little kid, and I mean that in the nicest way. He loved the game. He loved living life, and he was one of the lead guys. Want to go for beers? There, go for beer. There's no problem at all. Yeah.
100%. But to that point, how some of the guys that are complete legends in the game, how they want to feel a part of it. And this playing with Wayne, like the more you teased Wayne, the more he liked you.
Oh yeah,
he wanted to be one of the guys. Right?
Definitely.
He didn't want to be on that pedestal. If you really tore into him or ripped him or made fun of him, he had that laugh.
Oh yeah, yeah. Fun. He first got there, and I sewed the bottom of his pants together when he was up the ice. And he loved it. Came out on the ice to me. He says, "That's excellent." I said, "How'd you know?" He says, 11 years PRO. Like he was giving it back to me. Here's go.
Oh, I remember you were the biggest prankster. And there was a segment in the intermission of.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that Bob Morgan was our producer.
Yeah.
And I think, you did it like a serial prankster. And so they didn't show your face.
Yeah.
But then you did the one with the shaving cream and the towel or the baby powder in the blow dryer and all the different things. Man, that was just that was great television. But it was also great because somehow, I don't know how you'd get us. It would be at the Culver City Ice Rink, and I'd come out of the shower knowing fully what you have done in the past and grab a towel and on occasion not look inside and then wipe shaving cream all over my head or whatever.
Nick Fatilo taught me a lot of that stuff for the Rangers, but Nick was quiet about it. See, I'd like getting caught. Like I don't know why
Hey, Kel, you guys let him get away with it?
Well, they got me back.
Well, we were waiting for the next prank, right? What's Tom going to do next? And so we're always curious. It was amazing.
Well, I don't think you weren't there on the team when Bob Bourne was there, right? In LA. Right. So Bob and I were roommates together in LA, I guess the year before you got there. And Bob was a good practical joker too. We like to have a few cocktails. So after a game one night, we were in Edmonton, staying at some hotel where all the rooms are around like the lobby or whatever it is. So we get back to the room probably like 2 or 3 in the morning, and the guys had gone into our room, taken everything out, bed, furniture, they put it out in the lobby in perfect shape, just like it was in the room. And now we're feeling pretty good. We don't want to put it back in, so we lay in bed and go sleep. Right. Security came along and put it back in. So they got us back a few times. Oh, funny stuff. Bobby Moore was a good guy too, yeah. But that's the kind of stuff, right? Look at the way we're laughing about that kind of stuff. That was hilarious. Just like we're kids.
You'll learn after when you go in your room to check the closet, make sure nobody's hiding or under the bed or whatever they might do.
Wait, Laidlaw jumped down from under a bed and scared people?
Oh, we jump in the shower, turn the shower on, and all that kind of stuff, yeah. I remember when I was still in the agent business, Donald Fear negotiated a new CBA. Part of what he wanted to get was players would all have their own room now instead of having a roommate.
The Laidlaw clause.
I said, you kind of miss it though. That's one of the best things about being an NHL player is having that roommate, right? Was that fun together?
Well, you know what? I did miss out on that experience. I only had one roommate, and that was Steve Casper. The year I got traded to LA because the Islanders believed that the goalie should have his own room.
Oh.
And my agent was able to talk to the Kings and the Sharks. And so I always had my own room, which I did enjoy, but I did miss on those nights where just talking to somebody or laughing or sharing stories. I miss that.
I don't know. It was funny. When I first got traded to LA, we came back to New York. You play the Rangers, Islanders, Devils. Then we were going to go on and play Pittsburgh. So, of course, I'm back in the city for the first time. So I'm out every night. And I've got this young roommate, French kid. I can't remember his name. A really nice young guy. Yeah. So I'm out every night, and I'm playing my ass off, right? Because I'm knowing, okay, I'm back. Everybody knows I'm out having beers. I've been working hard. So we go to Pittsburgh. The night before the game, I go to bed like at 9 o'clock at night because I'm just wasted. And come out against Pittsburgh, and I played just awful. So we get back to the room after the game. And my roommate goes, Tommy, you should go out every night. Yeah, I'll try.
You took his advice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Kelly, so you leave the Islanders, who are obviously coming off 4 cups, and then you go to you become a rock star. Yeah. You join the band. How was that transition?
Weird. That was an environment that Tom knows really well. That was unique. I don't think there's any other team that had that same sort of, well, maybe the New York Rangers, Tom, where you came from, because you guys were living the life and, you got Broad Street and all, had all those nicknames and everything was good. But for LA, because of Gretzky and the trade, and it became like a celebrity hotspot. Yeah. It was weird to see everybody that was anybody in our dressing room, not only in our dressing room after the game, but even in our change room where we're changing from our the sweaty underwear that we wore under our gear after our shower into our street clothes, and there's celebrities where we're getting changed. It was just odd.
And it's female celebrities too, like Goldie Hawn's in there.
Yeah, let's drop some more names.
Well, everybody was there.
Kevin Costner, John Candy, Michael J. Fox, Sylvester. Robert Fatorik was called Sylvester Stallone Rocky. He got.
Well, were you there? That it might have been that first year. The first playoff might have been the second year where Sylvester Stallone gave us a pep talk.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. It just so Tom, to answer your question, yes, it was just crazy because I came from that hockey environment with the New York Islanders where everything was serious.
Yeah.
And not to suggest LA we weren't serious, because we were. It was a different environment that you had to get used to, having all these people around after every game. And we had that photographer, Tom, I can't remember his name, but he'd take pictures of us after every game, and you'd make the rounds. And, I still have all the pictures in my office.
Oh, do you? Wow.
I saved them all with all the celebrities, and it's really cool to look through it every once in a while and go, holy cow, I forgot I had met that person, or, some of the people I'd met, had some friendships with, I'd go golfing with, and those sorts of things. So very cool.
Yeah.
Well, are you guys looking at each other in the locker room going, holy cow, like this is Rocky getting us pumped?
After a while, though, you kind of, just normal people. Yeah. At first, it was like, oh, what's going on here? But after a while. Yeah.
And it's like, leave me alone, John Candy. I got to go get ready.
Well, and he's a big man, too. We've lost him, obviously, but he was a big man. So he'd be standing in the urinal. Now, he's been drinking all game long, too. So now you're just done playing. You can smell the booze coming off. Right? And it's funny, but your shoes on the other foot is different because you're the one drinking. But we're now, so it was just, it was Kelly summed it up. It was weird. Yeah, it was.
So Kurt and Goldie, Kurt Russell, Goldie Hawn were always there.
Yeah.
And so their son Wyatt, he was a goalie, and so oftentimes after a home game, Kurt would come in, and I'd go up to the whiteboard with him. And he'd go, okay, Kelly, there's that 2-on-1 or 3-on-2 in the second period. Explain to me what you were thinking, and draw it out with the black marker and show me, because I'd like to explain it to Wyatt, what you want to do and what you're seeing and what you're looking for. So it was like a little goalie clinic, and it was super cool. Right. And so one time, Donna's in the wise room, and after I'd done a little clinic.
Donna's your wife, correct?
Yeah. And I go, can you do me a favor? Like, we're big fans. can you come up and say hi to my wife? And so Kurt and Goldie came up, and they were so gracious and kind. And
That's good.
it's a story my wife still loves to this day. I think he gave her a hug, and she was so kind. And I've got a Goldie story. So now
that's cool.
This road. Yeah. So we're at Culver City Ice Rink, and Tom, you remember that dressing room was on the second floor. Yeah. You're looking down at the ice, and it's a Sunday morning, and I'm there early. I'm drinking my big Winchell's coffee. And I see in the corner, there's Goldie Hawn all by herself. And I'm thinking, I've got to take this opportunity. I've got to go say hi. I'm starstruck, of course. So I make my way down, and I kind of sheepishly walk up to her thinking, I got to explain who I am and say hi, and I hope she's nice. And so I say hi. I'm Kelly Hrudey. I'm the goalie for the Kings. And she had a coffee cup in her hand as well. And she goes like this, like, cheers. And I thought, cheers, hi. And she goes, no, I'm out of coffee. Pour some. Now we're chatting, we're sharing coffee, and she's talking about her son, Wyatt. And it was just some of those experiences you can't.
Yeah. No, I don't. True. And but play with Wayne too. Like, I know Kelly feel the same way. He just, the way he carried himself all the time. Yeah. And so Wayne, as most people know, would be famous for taking these long shifts.
Wayne Gretzky, you're talking.
Yes, Wayne Gretzky. I apologize. So he takes these 3 or 4 minute shifts. Now with Wayne, you always knew it wasn't being selfish. He really thought he had something going on to help the team.
Yeah.
So we were playing at one of our bad games, and we come in the locker room, I think after the first period, and everybody, then we had such a veteran team. The coaches really didn't have to say too much. We're aware how bad we're playing and what we need to do. And Jay Miller, like if you ever knew Jay Miller, a great guy, but you probably remember this. He walks in the room and he goes, well, if we didn't take these 3 or 4 minute shifts, we might be a lot better off. He's obviously saying that to Wayne. Rarely did Wayne ever get mad. Wayne comes over with his stick and gloves, throws it in front of Jay Stahl. If you think you can do any better, Jay, then you go ahead and use it. The room just goes silent. Now, we've got this veteran team, so most of the guys are kind of giggling like, this is pretty good stuff. And Wayne didn't let it last. I was like 30 seconds. He went and picked the stuff up. He said, come on, let's go. Let's get back out.
You know what I love about that story? Because I know most people see Wayne's persona, and he's very kind and gracious, and he is. He's all that. We love him for all that. But behind the scenes, he's got an edge, and that's what I love. Yeah. Like, I remember when he was coaching in Arizona and he lost it a few times. I'm thinking to myself, see, now everybody gets to see the Wayne that we knew.
Yeah,
the Wayne that behind the scenes, he was fiery as can be, and we all love that about him.
Totally. Were you at the game when Robbie Ftorek benched him in Detroit?
I was not. You heard all about it. That was earlier in this. That was the same year I got traded. That was earlier in that season, though.
Classic. And again, with the veteran team, we're all sitting in the locker room in the second, third period, and the rumors going around that he's going to get benched, and we're like, no, you can't do that.
Right.
We're done. But again, like even Larry Robinson, he's kind of giggling a little bit, like, this is going to be great. This is going to be great. And finally, when because we were so far ahead, it was like 7-1 or 8-1 or something, and we're so far ahead, so it was more like on the bench, we're all like, this is classic, this is legendary. And finally, Kruszyminski leads back, and Cruiser says to Robbie, Robbie, you've got to put him on. Right. And then he stopped. Once he put him on, then it was even worse because, now he's going back to his own rules. So it was classic stuff.
There's many things like that. I remember Wayne, Barry Melrose was our coach, and I can't remember what kind of stretch we were in. Wayne admittedly at that time said he wasn't playing very well, and he was struggling a little bit with confidence, which thought the world. How in the world can Wayne Gretzky be?
Seriously. Yeah, very true.
Yeah. Struggling a little with confidence. Anyways, so there's, I think, 3 of us. Pat Conacher, Charlie Hrudey, and I went into Barry Melrose's office and said, Barry, we know how we can help Wayne. You got to start him. Next game, you start him every period up against the best players on the other team, and you can't put him on the ice the second or third shift because Wayne needs to be challenged right away. And in no time, Wayne was playing like lights out, right? He just he needed that little challenge again, and he knew it. And that's what you have to do with those great players. You've got to challenge them on occasion because they expect, in Wayne's case, they expect greatness from themselves.
Yeah, no question. How many years were you in LA then?
8.
8 years. Wow. So they were the year they went to the finals as well.
Yep.
Yeah, cool.
And that was an interesting year, Tom, because my confidence got crushed that year. And so that's where the relationship between Barry Melrose and I really grew, because it was Barry's first year. And I got in a ditch from early December to late January. And Barry introduced me to Tony Robbins. And so I was able to work with Tony Robbins one-on-one a number of times. And he got me out of that bad place. And we ended up going to the finals that year, which was incredible that, what you do mentally and how you beat yourself up and what you can accomplish.
Do you feel like you learned a lot from Tony Robbins when you were with him?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
We had these exercises that he put me through that mentally was something that I really had to go through and change. And I still use some of those exercises.
And then got traded to the Sharks, or were you a free agent signing?
No, I was a free agent. I didn't want to leave LA, but they were done with me. You know how that goes, Tom.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not in your hands. And so I was able to go to San Jose and finish off my career. I really enjoyed that experience. I wasn't quite the goalie that I was previously, but I still enjoyed it. And one of the great things that came from that experience was, and we were actually just in San Jose about 10 days ago, Patrick Marleau was a rookie that year.
Yeah.
So we invited Patrick to live with our family.
Oh, so
My last year in the league and Patrick's first year. And so we've had this special friendship ever since, and it was cool to be at his jersey retirement.
Awesome. I went and recruited him when I was in the agent business, went to his farm. Yeah, really quiet kid. You couldn't have a conversation with him.
You sign him, though?
Yeah.
You signed him?
Yeah. Oh, no, I know we did, because he had Don Basie. Don Basie was his, yeah, that's right. I think he's his relative or something like that, too. We lost Don Basie, too. So you're done after one season in San Jose?
2. I played 2 years there.
Good. Did you know it was over? Were you done yourself mentally, physically?
Yeah, so I'm not sure how it came to an end for you, Tom, and what your mindset was and what you were thinking. But for me, I was 37 years old. I knew my skills were declining. But the other thing that I had, which I was really fortunate to have, I had started doing some broadcasting.
Okay.
And so my last 2 years in LA, when we didn't make the playoffs, I went to Toronto and I started working on a part-time basis in the playoffs on Hockey Night in Canada.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
So, and so I had that bug. And so my last 2 years in San Jose, my first year there, we didn't make the playoffs. My last year we did, but we lost out in the first round. So I had 4 years of going to Toronto part-time basis. And I kind of had an idea that I'd be offered a job once I retired to go on Hockey Night in Canada. And so I accepted that. And so I didn't have like any regrets, or I didn't have time to think back about, man, should I? And I did have a couple offers to keep playing. And I thought, no, I've been given a great opportunity to be on Hockey Night in Canada. And so I accepted, and I've been there ever since. So I made the right decision.
No, yes, you did.
How was it for you?
Well, I had hurt my back, and looking back at it now, I should have known that my career was coming in. Tom Webster had come in as coach, and we didn't hit it off. And I don't blame him at all. I was not the same player. He had coached in New York when I was there as well. And I was not nearly the same player. We joked around about it before the way I was playing. But naively, I didn't know that it was going to end. So we went to training camp. I passed the physical, but then I couldn't do anything. In fact, they had a scout. One of the Plager brothers was in from St. Louis scouting, maybe trade for me. And I remember he's looking at me because I can't do anything out there hardly. He's looking at me, he's watching it, and I'm going, listen, don't trade for me. I'm saying, I can't play. Yeah. So Tommy Webster, but again, I don't blame it. He wanted me out of there. So we finished training camp, and then Rogie called me up to his office. And again, I just like naively thinking like, I guess I knew it was going to end, but then Tommy came in the room and they said, okay, you're done. Your career's over with. Wow. I'll never forget walking out of Great Western Forum, walking up that ramp out of the downstairs there. The weirdest feeling, right? Like your game is over with. You're not going to be on a team anymore. First time in your whole life you haven't been on a team. So, yeah. But again, look,
offers, or did you have?
No, Kelly, my back had gotten so bad that, and again, I wasn't exercising. Like my back is fine now because I exercise differently. Right. But again, that's just so stubborn. Remember Rick Wilson, the assistant coach? Oh, of course. Yeah. Great guy. Yeah. And he was so nice to me. And he knew what I was going through. He turned his back, and he used to skate around with me before practice. Yeah. I can say to me, Tom, you've got to change. I know what you're going through. But in my mind, I'm saying I never changed. And that's how I made it to the National Hockey League, by being that stubborn and never changed.
Right.
Yeah. So, look at that. Like I said, the way I work out now, I don't have any back problems at all because I've just learned to train my core better and all that stuff. So
he had an offer. He had an offer from TWA to fly home.
You sparked something in me, Tom, a memory when you said about ask your physical. So when I went to San Jose, I had blown up my ankle the previous year at training camp with the Kings, and I missed about 2 months or 3 months. And so when I go to San Jose, I've got to pass the physical, and I'm scared. I'm thinking there's not a chance I'm going to pass this physical. My ankle's too badly damaged. And so I remember meeting the orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Ting, and he puts me through a physical. And he goes, I've got good news and bad news, Kelly. What do you want to hear? And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I know what he's going to tell me. I said, just give me the bad news. And I'm certain he's going to say I'm not passing you. And so my contract, I wouldn't get a contract, right? And so he goes, well, the bad news is, he goes, I'm going to give you the good news first. He goes, I'm going to pass you. So your ankle's okay. The bad news is, in fact, your so-called good ankle is a lot worse than your bad ankle, and you're going to have lifelong ankle problems, and you'll probably need ankle replacement surgery when that gets to be, like hip surgery or knee replacement. And I'm like, okay. And he turned out to be right. I have 2 terrible ankles, and I'm waiting at some point when that surgery or that replacement surgery gets to where I can continue to golf and that I'll have to do that.
Wow. So it's still a lot of pain now?
Oh, yeah. And it comes and goes. Like sometimes, especially my left ankle right now, it'll stop me dead in my tracks. It might last 2 minutes where I can't walk, I can't move. It's outrageously painful. Some days, unfortunately, it might last 5 days or 7 days or something.
Wow.
So, but that's just how all of us have it, right?
Yeah. I know.
All of us. I know Marty McSorley's had both hips replaced.
Oh.
I heard he's struggling with a bad knee right now. I just saw Marty Turco 2 days ago in Dallas, and he's a lot younger than you and I, Tom, and he just had his hip redone or replaced, like a week ago. So it's all right.
Yeah, I know. And some of the mental problems, too, for guys. We've done quite a these shows now, probably like 35 shows. And of the 35 shows, 4 guys on the shows they tried to commit suicide.
Yeah, see, it's tough. I tell you, Tom, I'm going through my own mental challenges right now. And it has been for since the summer 2019. And, some days are better and I have good stretches also, but I'm struggling mightily some days.
Do you want to talk about that at all? Or is that something? How long has that been going on? So is this something that's...
Well, what I just told you about, I was in a ditch in LA for those 2 months. I was related to mental health issues. I didn't know it at the time.
Oh, wow.
But it was, my thoughts start out rationally always. They're okay. I remember the summer of 92 is, well, how much longer can you do this, Kelly? I was entering my 10th year. I knew the average is like 3.5. I had a young family. I'm wondering how much longer I can do this and, pay the bills and all that. And then those thoughts went from rational to irrational. Like, you can't keep this up. You're not good enough. And
oh, really?
So that's where Tony Robbins really helped me. And then in the summer of 2019, those same thoughts came back where I think I was entering my 20th year on Hockey Night in Canada, which is a long, long time.
Yeah.
And my thoughts went from, well, how much longer can you do this, Kelly? And, new people are coming in. You better be perfect every broadcast, which is impossible, right? It's live television. You're not going to be. So I struggled with that for a while. Then I finally went to see somebody, and I went weekly for months and months to see somebody to get the help, and that helped tremendously. So if you're out there and you're listening to this and you're feeling the same thing, go get the help.
Yeah.
It's too lonely and too painful to do it by yourself. I journal now, Tom.
Oh, good.
I keep a little laminated index card in my wallet with these bullet points that remind me how to get through a bad stretch. So I'm out there on social media and I share all the time.
Yeah. I've seen the stuff. You should be very proud of yourself for that. That's really important that people like yourself talk openly about that so everybody else can see this. There's nothing wrong with you as a whole just because you've got something else wrong here. I've learned that myself. I talk about it a lot, and I finally realized I better look in the mirror. I'm 64 years old, divorced twice, in and out of relationships, and Tom and I joke around about it. I'm a disaster when it comes to relationships, and I finally figured out why. I've learned that a lot of the reasons we act the way we act now is because we have trauma when we were younger.
Yeah.
So I, learned back about. I was abandoned a couple of times by my parents. I don't mean like they left me on the side of the road, but during crucial times in my life, they weren't there for me. So
I think what's important for fans listening too is that you guys are regular dudes with problems, with issues, with struggles, just like everybody else.
Yeah, totally.
Totally. And that's kind of like the cool thing. You know, I'll go on the road and people will, you know, they may say something, I like you in Hockey Night in Canada or whatever, but the ones that are really impactful, really cool, they might pull me aside and say, hey, thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
I'm going through something, or my wife or my daughter or my son. And we have these really meaningful conversations that might, you know, sometimes take half an hour or whatever. It's just really cool that we can all share now.
Yeah.
Isn't it kind of like, I don't know if it's funny is the right word or not, but think of yourself when you're 25 or 30 years old. Would you thought that you would be having those conversations with another human being?
I'd never share it.
Yeah.
Not a chance, right?
Totally.
And then, you know, like, even to your point, Tom, I'd say maybe 7 years ago, we wouldn't have done it.
Absolutely.
That's what's kind of exciting, that we're doing it. And I mean, listen to us, 3 grown men talking about this and how you doing and you okay? And yeah, I need help. I go get help. I'm not ashamed of it. And, you know, it helps me when I'm kind of struggling. And, you know, those are real conversations.
Very true. Very true.
Yep.
So you won how many cups?
I didn't win any.
You
Missed them all.
When the Islanders won their 4th consecutive cup, then I joined them full time. I was one of those black aces for 2 of the cups.
Okay.
And so, as you know, as a third goalie, you don't get any.
Oh, that's right.
You didn't get a ring, Kelly?
No, I did not.
No.
So, but I did lose twice in the finals. Tom, you were with the Rangers in 79?
I didn't commit till 81. That was my first year.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Yep. So I went to the semifinals that first year, lost to the Islanders. They were winning their 2nd cup, and then with like 6th year, we lost to Montreal we played them in the semifinals.
That's right. So it's hard. I mean,
Yeah.
That's what I would say when I go public speaking and people ask me about that. I'm not ashamed to say, no, I never won a cup.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why it's so special. If everybody won a cup, then what would be why would it be so special to raise the cup at the end of the series, right? I think that's the cool thing, to accept it, and you know, that's part of the journey.
You know what I like about you, Kelly, too, is that a lot of guys get stuck in this rut where they're still living like their NHL hockey players. Yeah. You've moved on. Yes, you're still in the hockey world, but you have moved on from the game. The game doesn't define who Kelly Hrudey is, right?
No, not at all. I let that go, and I'm perfectly content and happy, and you know, I'm very proud of my playing.
Yes.
I'm sure you are too. I can see it, Tom. I can see it in your eyes, and you should be, because it's hard. I mean, I always tell somebody that anybody wants to listen, if you ever play junior, you're a phenomenal hockey player. If you've ever played one game in the minors, you are so freaking good.
Yeah.
To have the experience that you and I had in National Hockey, so rare and so unique. It's crazy. So I'll share a stat with you guys.
Yes, let's go.
Well, I heard this the last work stoppage. There's something like 49% of all players that ever play in the National Hockey League play 50 or fewer games.
Right.
That's stunning.
Yeah.
That's a lot of players that play 50 or fewer games.
I know. Yeah, it's funny. Isn't it true? You think back, like I played over like, I don't know, close to 800 games or whatever it was. I'm like, oh, if somebody told me when I was 8 years old that I was going to play that many games in the NHL, I got it.
Well, yeah, when you look at it from 30,000 feet, you won the lottery.
Yeah.
You guys won the life lottery by making it, you know?
Yeah. Well, Kelly, listen, I really mean this very seriously. You're one of the best teammates I ever had, as far as being a professional, a fun guy, coming to work hard. Very, very happy that you've had the career that you've had after the game. You deserve it. You're a great person. So, and thank you very much for coming on the show.
Yes. Wait, I got to ask before you guys love each other. Kelly, do you ever put the headband on for old time's sake?
I wear a different style headband when I go hiking or biking or something, but it's not the old so-called Kelly Hrudey headband, that the blue chiffon, as Don Cherry called it.
That was the blue chiffon.
It was iconic. Iconic.
Yeah, definitely. All right, brother. Great to see you again, brother.
Yeah, same.
Thanks, Kelly.
I was looking forward to this. I know it took a little bit longer to get connected, but thanks for this, and all the best to you guys.
All right, brother. Thank you,
Kelly.
Good to see you.
See you guys.
Hey, Tom. So it's always a blast when we have one of your former teammates on, because you could see how you guys really,
genuinely are fond of each other. That was awesome.
Kelly Hrudey is such a fantastic guy too. And I said it over on the show, and I told that story about him saying to Tom, like at the end, he says, "Can you just please get out of the way?"
Yep.
And, I'll never forget when he said that to me, and he was being so sweet and nice about it. But that was one of the lowest points in my career, because I was terrible at that point. It was at the end of my career.
No, I can relate. When we do this podcast, I'm like, Tom, would you please just not repeat yourself? Don't say the same story over and over.
Oh God, great to see him. And you know what? Like, he's one of those guys that you're really happy that he's done well after his career with the TV work he does with Hockey Night in Canada. So he's a good man.
Yeah, and I will say, I've booked a lot of guests on our show, and he's been one of the kindest and the most open to talk to. And I think that came through in the interview too.
Yeah, that was a great show. Yeah.
Yeah, it was excellent.
And him talking about his mental health issues too. Like, I think it's, he knows the importance that is to other people for him to be out there talking about it publicly.
And like we said, you guys are regular dudes. I mean, you did this incredible thing by making the NHL, but you're dudes, and you have issues, and you have problems, and you're,
Well, I don't have issues.
No, not at all.
Great show, everybody. All right, Grasshoppers, thank you for listening. We had a fantastic show. We'll see you next time.